Hey, what's up? I'm Troubleshoot. If you want to earn money from GitHub, this video's got you covered. You've probably already seen this button over here, which allows you to sponsor certain creators on GitHub. Whether you just contribute code or you host projects yourself, you can get this sponsor button set up super easily, and that's what I'll show you here. On top of this, I'll also show you how to add the sponsor button to different projects on your account. So for example, my account switcher has a sponsor button, and when clicked, it'll let you use GitHub sponsors, which is what this video is about, or Patreon or Coffee. So first of all, setting up the sponsor button here and your GitHub sponsors page where people can pledge money to you monthly, donate once off, etc. Head across to the link in the description down below or github.com/sponsors and make sure you're signed in. Here you'll see two different buttons, see your top dependencies and get sponsored. This left button shows you which dependencies your projects rely on. From here you can sponsor creators and support the open source ecosystem, but we're more about actually earning money. So in order to do that, use the Get Sponsored button instead, which takes you to github.com/sponsors/accounts. Here you can manage who you currently sponsor and the GitHub sponsors eligible accounts down here. You can get yourself sponsored. Clicking that button, confirm your contact email and your country of residence. For me, it's South Africa. Assuming you're on this list here, it should be supported. For a list of all regions, you'll find this other page linked down below, and all of the available regions are here. So these ones. There's quite a few. Then you can choose to receive money straight to your bank account or through fiscal host. I'll be using bank account here. Choose your bank account country, and once you've done so, submit. Now, we'll need to confirm our identity and set up our sponsor's profile. To confirm our identity, click this button here, and you'll need to confirm your name, last name, address, city, country, region, postal code, and, if available, your VAT or GST ID. Once I've saved my billing information, it asks us to connect a Stripe account, which is obviously only needed if you chose bank account as your way to get paid. Clicking this takes us to a page where we can create our GitHub sponsors Stripe account. If you don't already have one, you'll need to create one now by following through with the prompts on screen. I did this a few years ago, and I'll show you what the process looks like on screen now. All I need to do is fill in my email here, and now enter a phone number. After continuing, I should get a verification code, and after filling it in, I can tell them about my business. So my country is South Africa, I'm a sole proprietor. I'll fill in some personal details, then click continue, and I'll need to fill out a W8 or W9 certification. In my case, it'll be the W8 Ben. So, are you a US person? No. And I'll go ahead and fill this out. Then we'll need to fill in some account details of how we'll be paid from Stripe. Now that I have a bank linked, I can submit. Once you've run through that and your Stripe account has been created, and once it's synced, you should be able to customize your sponsor's profile. That button will take you to your profile, which is currently empty. We'll click Edit Our Profile here or here, and we can customize our account with a short bio, introduction. We can choose to hide sponsors of our profile, feature work by clicking Edit here, and then choosing different repos we currently have committed code to or own. We can feature specific sponsors, such as the top funders of all time, or manually list them out if you wish. And finally, if you want, you can opt in to get featured on github.com/sponsors, which is this page here, where your account will show up in other people's dependency lists and things like that. Once you've updated your profile, at the very bottom, we can continue to the Your Goals section. Here we can set goals by clicking this, and we'll make it something like we'd like to receive 10 sponsors, certain amount a month, etc. If we set a goal, I'd like to get, let's say, 1 sponsor, and by reaching this goal, I will be able to push code more frequently to my project. Obviously, you don't want to make promises that are too difficult to fill here, but the more honest you are with people, the more likely someone is to want to support you. You can publish this, and it should appear on your profile shortly after. Then on the Sponsor Tiers tab, you're able to customize different tiers for people to support you. So for example, for $5 a month, they'll get a sponsor badge in your profile. For $10, you'll give them a shout out on Twitter, for example. This has yet to be updated to X, and a couple of other automatically suggested ones here. We can select all of them or none of them if you wish. And as you can see on the far right, these different tiers appear here in the preview section. As you can see, there are monthly tiers and one-time tiers, for which there are 2 examples selected by default. Customize these as you see fit by using the Continue to Tier Editor button in the top right, which may be covered by a pop-up. Otherwise, you can skip this step if you'd like to set it up later. For me, I'll continue to Tier Editor, and we can customize things here a bit more to our liking instead of having to choose from a default list. As you can see, there are some suggestions below which we saw just now. So we can say custom amounts will be accepted. Let's say the recommended is $5 and the minimum is say $2. We can then add monthly tiers, for example, where for $3 you'll get a shout out on my X account. We can give them a welcome message, which they'll receive via email, and it'll be visible after the payment when they support us. So for example, thanks a ton, I'll put this to good use, and we can send a test email, which should send one to yourself so you can see what it looks like. As you can see here, I'm now sponsoring my old account for sponsorship amount, next billing date, and a bit of text over here that people can use to easily post on Twitter or X. And here's our little thank you message at the very bottom. We can also, if you wish, grant users access to private repos so that you can paywall code or certain repositories if you wish, and they'll receive a read-only collaborator invitation once they support you for this tier. If it's monthly, has this option, but the one-time tier does not. So I would definitely assume that this only lasts as long as the person sponsoring your account chooses to sponsor you. We can learn more here, which takes us to this page where we can find out some more information about it. Once you're done setting up your tier, you can save it as a draft, cancel, or publish your tier, and once you do, it appears here and of course on your actual profile. So as you can see, we've got a custom amount and our shout out over here that we just set up. On the other tabs here, we can manage and see our sponsors to see who's currently paying us. We can send out newsletters on the newsletter tab, where we can write some info to send people directly to their email addresses. And of course, we can choose specific people like recurring sponsors, one-time, all sponsors, etc. Pretty cool. On the Webhooks page, you can create webhooks to allow notifications to reach external services when certain events happen, like people start supporting you, etc. If you wish to have something like a pop-up on a stream or anything like that, you can set that up here. On the Payouts tab, you can actually manage how you get paid out and see how much your next payout is, your last payout, and your previous payouts over here. Finally, on the Settings tab, you can customize things like your full legal name when you get notifications from this, opting out of emails, connecting a Patreon account if you wish, which allows people who already support you on Patreon to be shown on the GitHub sponsors page, which is pretty cool. You can customize your Stripe account here, payouts email, country of residence, etc. I never chose the US as my country of residence, so it's weird that it's chosen that here for me automatically. I guess that's just the default for your Stripe account, which for me I haven't fully set up, so I guess that's where it's from. And that's it, we've run through everything we need to know. Once you've set everything up, check the Overview tab just to make sure things are set up happily, such as filling out a W8 or W9 Ben form, and the rest which are handled when you create your Stripe account. Finally, in the top right, you can preview your profile and see how it would actually look. This is the example we worked through here, and this, for example, is my actual GitHub sponsors page, Techno.com. Here you can see what I feature, goals, sponsors, featured work, and different tiers here. Pretty cool. And those who support you, like my lovely fiance here, get a badge on their profile in the achievement section that looks something like this. Pretty cool. Now finally, to actually get this sponsor button to show on your different repos and down here as well, what you need to do is first of all enable it. In your repo, head across to settings, then on the general tab scroll down until you see the features section. Then here, simply make sure sponsorships are ticked. Then you can use the edit funding links button here, which opens a new text file in your repo inside of a folder called .github, which is usually a hidden folder, a dot folder, and inside of it all caps funding.yml lowercase. This file is simply filled with bits of text. For example, GitHub : followed by your username, or any GitHub username which has GitHub sponsorships enabled, adds this as an option for your project, where people can click the heart next to it to get to your GitHub sponsors page, or when they click the sponsor button on your profile, it presents GitHub sponsors here. Then some of the other compatible sources are Patreon and Coffee, for which you can enter your username, for example, Patreon : your username, or ko_fi : for coffee, followed by your coffee username. It's all super simple. In the description down below, you'll find a list of supported things that you can add to your funding file, which for example includes LFX, Issue Hunt, Coffee, LiberaPay, Open Collective, Patreon, Tidelift, Polar, Buy Me a Coffee, Thanks.dev, and I assume more extra details for the rest of them. It also seems like you're able to add arrays of different people, such as Octocat and Surf2Cat, inside of square brackets to have multiple people or multiple accounts appear for GitHub, and the rest. You can even add custom links, for example, paypal.me, and a website. Pretty cool. For these things, if your text includes a colon, make sure you surround it in quotes. That's true for anything here. and you'll find some further information down here, which we've mostly already covered. But anyways, that's really it for this quick guide. Hopefully you found it useful. Thank you for watching. Mine's been Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.